What's going on YouTube? Make the Barber about to take you step by step on how to do a tape. First, go ahead and you grab your 2 guard and you drop that hair down evenly all the way around. Make sure you got a comb with you so you can brush down the hair and see what you're doing and see where else you need to get touched. Make sure you go with that hair. Make sure you put that machine gently on the client's head. Make sure you place it on right, and then just go ahead and knock that hair down. On the back, you gotta always make sure you don't stab them with those clippers, man. Those guards are really sharp. When you stab them, they hurt. So make sure you get it in right and just go ahead and go with that hair. I use that comb to pick up some of the hair just in case, so it's really flat. You want to pick up that hair, make sure you get all the hair done. You don't want no hair sticking out. So after you finish that step, go ahead and clean up your client. Make sure you blow them all down, clean them up really good, brush them down. Now it's time for the lineup. You see he's a little kid, he has baby hair, so you want to keep it natural still. You want to go too high. So that's the hair up top, and that's the baby hair. Go ahead and hit that baby hair. Just hit the tips on that, and just make sure you get it nice and straight and even until you hit that corner. It wants pointy sideburns too, so when we do those pointy sideburns, we just go ahead and hit that corner of the machine and just gently scroll down and give it that nice shape on them sideburns right there. So this is where we start tapering the back. I get my T-liner and I go ahead and make 1 finger line, all even straight. Make sure it's nice and clean, that little hole in the middle. Now I get my machine, I go ahead and open it. I go ahead, make sure he's nice and comfortable and flat, and good for me to go ahead and start making him his little fades. So I go ahead and open the machine, and I go 1 finger size, and I leave that corner pointing. That corner is gonna make it look really good, make that taper stand out nice and dark, give it that detail. Go ahead and I close my machine, and I get that little bottom line. After that, I get my half clip, I go ahead and open it and do the same thing. Once again, I open it 1 finger size all the way through. This time you go ahead and hit that little corner, little pointies. Make sure you flicking your machine too and brushing them down so you can see what you're taking off. After you did that step, you go ahead and close your machine and hit that little bottom line. You open it, then you open it halfway, and you go ahead and touch that middle line that's right there as well. Now for the next step, I go ahead and I get my number 1 guard. I go ahead and open it and do the same thing. I leave 1 finger size. I make sure I flick it. I try to make it blend in with the 2 that we did earlier. There's 2 different types of guards that I use, 2 different machines. So since it's the wall, I got the 1. I have 2 1s, and this is 1.5 open. I'm going ahead and trying to make it fade in with that 2. Go ahead and close it now and hit that little bottom line. You do the same thing. After you hit that bottom line, you close it halfway and you touch it up 1 more time. After that, I want to get into good details, so I go ahead and I repeat my steps again. I open the half clip and I go ahead and just barely touch it all the way, almost up, not too high, just touching it a little bit. I close it halfway. Now I have no guard, but my machine is open, and I go ahead and I touch it up. Use the corners, get nice and detailed. Make sure it's nice and faded. Now this is where I put my 1.5 on my Andes Masters, and I go ahead and fade it in. It fades in perfectly, evenly with that 2 that we used in the beginning. And on this machine, I also close it halfway, and I also have it all the way closed just to touch it up, just to give it that little detail. Make sure it blends in with that 1.5 from that walls. So now that we got the backs nice and faded, now it's time for us to do the sides. But first, you want to clean down your client, throw some powder on him, make sure he's not moving all the time while you're cutting hair and itching. So what I do right here, I grab my machine with no guard, just open, and I go ahead and just give him a little size right there, right on the ear. He wants to keep those sideburns nice and dark. Now I got my half clip, I go ahead and open it. And pay attention right here because his hair grows different. So I try to do a finger size, and as you can see, nothing comes out. So I close it, I do it again, nothing comes out. That's when I use my corners. I use my corners and do the same thing. Little finger size, it might curve up, but the corners is gonna help. Now I open it and I go ahead and touch it one more time, going with that hair, using my corners, giving it that little curve just so it could get that hair. Close it halfway, make sure I knock off that middle line. Forget that middle line. So now I get my one clip, I open it up, I do the same thing. I touch it using my corners, going with that hair, make sure I'm flicking it as well, and giving it that little curve so it can fade in just right. I close my machine, I touch that bottom line, close it halfway to get that middle line. Now I got my 1.5 and these guard to blend in and finish the cut. So now on this step is trying to give him his design. He say he wants 3 lines on the side. So I gotta make sure that point of that lineup, I go down 1 inch. And I'm gonna make it, that line is gonna be the size of a blade and a half. So I use one time, I go down with the blade, and then I use half of the blade to give it that long, nice lineup right there. Now I go 1 inch under that, and now this line is gonna be the size of a full blade. So that's how you measure your lines. Now the bottom line is going to be half of that blade, and it's going to be a nice, even, clean line. So now when you do the other side, you already have your line up nice and evened out. And you got one side done, the 3 stripes right there. What you want to do is you want to match it up. So just the same thing like you did the other side, 1 inch below that corner lineup. You go ahead and you make the same size, 1 blade and a half. That's what you use. See how that matches up, nice and perfect, nice and even. Okay, going good. Now for the next line, 1 inch below that as well, and the size of that line is going to be one size, just the machine, the guard going straight down. For the next one, it's going to be half of that blade. So I just use half of my blade to give it that nice look and even with the other side. Perfect. So we're almost done right here. Now I just gotta clean them up real quick, take off the paper off his neck, dust them off really good. And what I do is I get my T-liner and I go ahead and I get those neck hairs. Those neck hairs that were covered by the paper, I go ahead and go all the way around. Make sure I touch them up once again on these pointy sideburns. Take all as much hair as I can, because the next step we're gonna start shaving them. So I make my customer comfortable. I apply shaving gel just a little bit. Go ahead and rub it where I'm about to shave. Now I got my shaver. Go ahead and pull the skin and just gently touch the hair that you already took off. Just gently touch it so it could be nice, fresh, and clean. Make sure you pull that skin. Make sure you put shaving gel on them, whatever. You don't want them to be irritated, you don't want them to be all red. Be careful behind those ears as well. And that shaver that I have is really heavy, so it works really good and it helps me out to get that nice detail. Make sure you touch those lines up gently as well so they can last a few days. and give it that nice fresh kick. So after we finish shaving, I go ahead and I get my aftershave and I just go ahead and spray it all the way around his neck where I did the shaving, just so we won't have no irritation and just disinfect everything. So there you have it, Victor the Barber, how to do a taper with design, stripes on the side, both sides, pointy sideburns, nicely detailed. Tips on how to go with that hair when it's getting hard to fade in. There you go. Got any suggestions, any comments? Let me know. Hopefully you like this video. Hopefully it helped you out. Step your game up on your tapers. This is Victor the Barber. I'm signing out, man. Hopefully I see you soon. God bless.